You look at the numbers, not giving up a lot of big runs, a lot more efficiency, and Will just said that discipline has been something that's been a huge part of your growth. Can you kind of take us through that and quantify how much you guys have grown?
Yeah, I'll say yes. Discipline did play a big part of just really, executing our part of the defense and doing our job. We stick down to the process and stacking days the past couple of weeks, just trying to fix the little things and do it making sure that we do our part of the defense. That really,
Well, staying on that, when other teams I've covered, when defenses have struggled some, a lot of players talk about learning to trust the guys up front. You got to trust that they're going to do their job, so you don't try to cheat and do their job too. Where is the trust process with you guys, and when did you really start having that high level of trust in one another?
I feel like the trust process has always been there. It's just and it comes from communication, just working, going out there, practice, and working with the guys every day. So I would say that the trust process has always been there. Just the growth on the past couple of weeks and fixing the things that need to be fixed.
Michael?
CJ, with the last two games being decided by as close a margin as they were, less than a yard both times, what's the process of coming back mentally from that? I mean, Coach Belichick was saying that it's all in your guys' control. So how do you come back from that, basically?
Really, because the game didn't go the way we wanted it to go, but we competed at a high level, and we're stepping towards the right direction of where we want to be and where we want to go this season. So we have to put it behind us and prepare for the next game.
You feel like the time's coming where one of those bounces is going to go your guys' way?
What was that?
I said, do you feel like the time is coming where one of those bounces is going to go your guys' way?
Yes, of course.
Noah?
CJ, how helpful is it as a defensive line for you guys to get to the quarterback, at least in his face, not necessarily a sack, but get in his face early in the game rather than maybe not having a sack in the first half and then starting to get to him in the second half? Does that give you guys a lot of momentum if you know you can do it in the first half, then it'll continue through the second?
I'm sorry, can you ask that one more time? I'm trying.
Getting to the quarterback early, how important is it to get in his face early in the game rather than maybe not a sack in the first half and then start to get to him in the second half?
Just to make him make the quarterback know that the pressure's there. All the little things matter. Us getting pressure on the quarterback helps out the back end, and the back end coverage helps us having the time to get to the quarterback. So, yeah.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, CJ, to go off of that about putting more pressure on the quarterback, it seems like you guys are finishing plays more often. It seemed like there were times in the year where you guys might have been, kind of the right position, maybe, someone run out of it or whatever. You guys are kind of finishing the plays, getting the sacks, getting the tackles for loss. What do you think is contributing to that? You mentioned execution. I guess, what do you think contributes to that level of execution to, finishing those plays?
Just staying with the process throughout the week, trying to build on things that some of us have, trying to build on things that we just need to work on at times, and just finishing those plays, as you just said. It's just been a consistent thing that we worked on and gotten better with throughout practice, and we was able to see it on the field.
Adam?
CJ, I hear you when you talk about trusting the process, stepping in the right direction, getting better and getting closer to winning games. I was wondering if what sort of urgency you guys might feel in terms of bowl eligibility. You're going to have to win, I think, 4 of your last 5 games to be able to get to a bowl. Trusting the process might only work to a certain degree if you want to go to a bowl, is what I'm saying. Is there a feeling of urgency, do you think, with the guys in the locker room about getting these wins and getting to a bowl?
Well, we're just worrying about the next game on the schedule and preparing for this and preparing for Syracuse this week. So.
Great.
Hey CJ, we had Coach Diaco up on the podium last week, and he mentioned how excited he is about this defensive line. And then, of course, a couple days later, you guys have 6 sacks. Just waiting to say about the growth of the defensive line, and then also some of the younger guys that are stepping up and making big plays as well.
I would just say, it's because we all love to compete, and we come to practice every day and compete with each other and push each other every day just to get better and put ourselves in these situations where we can make plays. Because I like there's certain situations where you see one man make the sack, but as a group we made that sack as we work together on the field, and yeah.
Yeah, and kind of going off of that, just when one guy gets a sack, what does that kind of do for the rest of the defensive line? Does that make you guys hungrier to get after the quarterback in a sense?
Yes, I would say that. It really sets the tone, and it, as you said, it adds that hunger to us, and making us really want to compete. And, you know, okay, he got one. You know, let's try to get one. Let me try to get another one. You know what I mean? So.
Shelby?
I was just curious, we had a chance to talk to Coach Diaco recently, and he just talked a lot about kind of his why and being here. He's had kind of an interesting journey back. I'm curious just how much of that perspective maybe he has shared with you guys as his players, just kind of his process of like, you know, he was not ever getting back to coaching, and he just talked a lot to us about like,
Yeah. You know, I love Coach Diaco. When he first got here, you know, he was very, very transparent with us. You know, we talked about, he talked about his past and everything, and then we all did the same, just being open with each other and just building that family, that family and strong bond that we need in that room.
Yeah, and how much, I guess, has that maybe helped bond guys with him or, you know, with each other as a team?
You know, I say it's helped a lot, just like I said, to build that chemistry and just to really know that person beside you that you're playing against. Playing with, excuse me.
Yeah,
All right, good stuff. Appreciate it, CJ.
CJ.
Thanks, CJ. Appreciate you. Thank you.
First half against Virginia looked about as comfortable as you've been, man. What was working so well for the offense there, and how do you kind of bottle that moving forward?
I think offensively we just, been stacking days every day in practice. It starts, on Tuesday. Well, today we play Friday, so Monday for us. But it starts in practice every week, and we had a good game plan. And I think Coach Kitchens did a great job with our game plan, and we just got to keep stacking days as a team.
Let's go to Noah.
I'm sure there's multiple, but has there been a moment in the last couple of weeks that you've shared with Coach Belichick, just sort of one-on-one with him, encouraging you a little bit and giving you some feedback on things and just telling you to keep going that you can share?
I think Coach Belichick's been great with all of us, encouraging all of us as a team, as players, as individuals. I think for me personally, just me and him meet up every Monday and watch film together, and we just kind of talk about the game and the game plan and what the defense is doing and how to go about, that team. So I think for me, feels like every time you get to talk to Coach Belichick, it's a great moment. So for me, just talking to him has been an awesome thing to do.
Is it just the two of you in that meeting, or is it Coach Lombardi too, or just the two of you?
Usually those meetings, it's me and him, but sometimes Coach Lombardi hops in there, sometimes Coach Kitchens. We always just watch film together.
Has there been any sort of advice, I guess, one thing that's really stuck out to you that you've gotten in that meeting, just being able to talk to him and learn from him?
I think it's been a multitude of things. I can't pinpoint one thing, but I think he's everything he kind of says. He's always uplifting. Of course, he's going to coach you hard, but he's never beating you down or anything. He's always uplifting.
Brian?
Hey, Gio, Brian Murphy. Can you walk me through the two-point conversion play a little bit? I talked with Brent Renner yesterday. He talked about that play usually is supposed to go against a man defense. Was there any thought to calling time out there, especially when you saw they were in zone with the motion a bit?
Of course, I play as a man beater, but I think we just kind of came out with a play that we practice every day. You always go after two-point plays during practice, and I think it was a play that we were successful on the whole week. So I think it was just a situation where, you get in the play and you get a play that you scored on all week on, and you just kind of were happy about the situation. I think Coach Kitchens did a great job, and I think going for 2-point was a great decision, and I love the play call that we had.
The ball was put on the right hash mark as a left-handed quarterback. Would you prefer on that play to have the ball on the other hash mark? So if you have to roll, you roll into your strong side?
Doesn't really matter to me. The whole week we did it on the left hash, so that's how I trained it all week. So for me, it was exactly how it was in practice.
Pat?
Hey, Jim. Pat from WRL. I'm sure you came in here with a lot of excitement to play for Carolina, play for Belichick, and obviously you guys have faced a lot of adversity, and you specifically had some injuries and probably some criticism off the field from fan media. How have you kind of dealt with just going through everything that you individually and the team have gone through and to kind of get where you are right now?
I think from a team standpoint, just picking up everybody and having a good head on my shoulders and just being uplifting in wherever we're at, in the locker room, on the field, whatever. But for me personally, I think just being myself and not being worried about the outside noise. Coach always says don't worry about the outside noise, and for me, that's kind of how I've always been. And me and my dad always talk about everything, and he's been a great person for me to lean on. And at the end of the day, it's football at the end of the day, and I'm just excited to play football every day. So I never worry about what other people have to say.
Great.
Hey, Gio, when you look back at the Virginia game, what are some of the moments that stood out to you, whether it was the good and the bad?
I think just stood out to us. I think we competed our butts off. I think we competed really hard. I think the team kept showing up. When we went down, we kept showing up. When the game wasn't going our way, we showed up. When the game was going our way, we were showing up. So I think as a team, we just kept competing. I think we did a great job in that department.
And then also, I know you mentioned after the Cal game how you feel healthier, and of course you're kind of showing on the field throwing in tighter windows and everything like that. But do you also feel like you're playing with more confidence now compared to at the beginning of the season?
Let's say I'm playing with more confidence. I think this came with practice and understanding the players more that you're playing with. For me, I got here kind of late, so just building chemistry, and I think I'm just building chemistry every day. I'm gonna go out here today at practice and build more chemistry with my guys, and it's something that we just keep taking every day. Keep getting better.
Michael? Gio, we talked to Ship after the game, and he said that, if he could, he'd go out there and play Syracuse tomorrow, is what he told us. Like, how was the mood on the team after the last 2 games? It'd be understandable if you guys could get a little beaten down with, the thin margins, but how are you guys doing?
For us as a team, I think we're in a good place. You got to think our first couple of losses were not even competitive games. So for us to have 2 competitive games and it's against a good Cal team and a good Virginia team, I think it was just, you don't want to say uplifting in the sense that you lost the games, but I think it was in the sense that you can show we can compete and we can play with everyone in our conference. I think we're just going to keep stacking days and keep getting better there.
We asked Coach Belichick, or I asked Coach Belichick earlier today about, the mental state of with the fumbles on the goal line and just recovering from that mentally. He said, it's all in our control, basically. Is there a sense of comfort that you can take from that, where you do have that ability to change your fate, basically?
It's a sense of comfort, but it's also a sense of irritation where you're like, man, it's on us, and that's how we feel, and we feel like these last 2 games have been on us, and those games that, the teams we played were great teams, but I feel like we had situations where we could have played better and put ourselves in a better situation, and I think that's, for us, it's not a comfort thing, but just like a urgency thing to want to get it right and get better.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, Gio, to go off with the previous question, one thing Bill was saying after the game was, turnovers are, kind of the number one point of emphasis, particularly in the last 2 games. What do you think, I guess, in these last 2 games have kind of been the common thread, maybe with some of those turnovers and I guess even the situations that they've come in? I
think the turnovers situation, of course, that starts with me, and I think we just something we worked on, and I think I got to make a better decision in the red zone, try and throw that ball to Chenard. The ball at the end of the game, I was just taking a shot, But for situationally, I just had to be better in the red zone. That's something I need to do better. I think ball security-wise, it's something we're attacking in practice every day, and we're doing better, and everyone's getting better, and I think Kobe did a great job. The next time he got to the red zone, taking care of the ball, and it's something, we're still growing as players, and I think we're doing a better thing there.
I guess when you guys kind of work on that and get that showed up in games, I guess what next level does that take the offense to? Because as you mentioned, some of them, close to the goal line, whatever. But getting those cleaned up, I guess, what next step do you think that brings you guys?
I think if we clean up some of the turnovers, and especially in the red zone, that changes a lot of our outcomes in the game, just be honest. And, if we can clean those things up, then we're sitting at a different record. And I think that's something that is something we want to, we're urgently wanting to get better. And I think everyone has a good mindset towards it.
Time for maybe 1 or 2 more. So, Shelby?
It's just talk about maybe making a better decision with the info that was tipped. I know that Michael Martin was saying on his coach's radio show last night, kind of the idea maybe throwing that one a little bit lower. I don't know if that's something that maybe coaching staff discussed with you, but as you guys kind of went over that play, maybe what you could have done better, just what stood out, what was that discussion?
One of those situations I was a little too aggressive, and I tried to go back, try to throw a back shoulder ball to Chenard, which, I think he's a great player, and I would, trust him. I've hit that throw in practice before, and I think it was just one of those situations where I kind of felt like I saw this, I've made this throw before, went for it, and didn't come to the outcome I wanted. Could have threw that ball a little more on the outside, but it's something I missed. I would, of course, want to have back, but, can't go back now. But I think as a team, we're just doing better.
Just another quick one. I know that obviously, have some players just step up almost kind of out of nowhere on offense. That was season with Delon Jr. earlier against, I think it was Richmond. He had that great game, and then you had Madrid Tucker and just his performance as a freshman. Can we expect more kind of players to emerge like that? Maybe new playmakers throughout the season.
I think for us, from the outside looking in, it looks like they're coming out of nowhere. But for us, it starts in practice. And Madrid was doing great in practice. Damon was doing great in practice. And I think it was just one of those outcomes where you've earned your reps during the week. And I think Madrid had a great week of practice and just showed up for us. And it showed up on Saturday for us. And, whoever, if you keep doing good in practice, you're going to play. And that's kind of our coach's, motto. And that's what happens.
Let's go to Adam.
Gio, I was going to ask, where did Madrid Tucker come from? But you just told us. Along those lines, can you see those guys coming? Like, I know Damon, showed up in the Charlotte game earlier in the season, but I mean, heck, we're 6-7 games into this thing, and Madrid Tucker comes out of nowhere for 8 catches. Like, can you see those specific guys that are going from maybe being buried on the depth chart to performing in games. Can you all see that happening in sort of real time in practice?
I think in a sense, like we always have basic groups at the end of practice where the younger guys are practicing.
Yeah.
You're seeing Madrid and you're seeing Damon do really well, and you're like, okay, like they look good there. And then we have Sunday night football on Sundays where we practice again, and you see those guys show up again. And it's just one of those things where you just kind of hear the same name over and over again. You're like, all right, well, this guy's probably making his way up on the depth chart. I think it was a situation where everyone kind of saw it coming with Madrid, especially Damon, and he's always just kind of same thing with Chenard. He did the same thing earlier in the year. So as a team, everyone's just getting better, and I think it's something that we see in practice.
Does anyone just to follow up, sorry. Does anybody like Freddie or the younger Lombardi like give you a heads up like, hey, we're going to work 85 into the game plan now. We're going to work 86 into the game plan. Does anybody like say, hey, by the way, you're thrown to a guy you haven't been thrown to?
Yeah.
You know what
So Coach Lombardi, Coach Kitchens both kind of like mentioned it to you, like, hey, these guys are probably going to work a little more this week with you and stuff like that. And Coach, even when we had to play UCF with Chenard, Coach Belichick kind of told me about like, hey, Chenard's probably going to get some more reps. So like it's something that it's not just thrown on you. The coaches make sure you have a good eye and good situational understanding what's about to happen.
And the last one for Jerry Meyer.
Hey Gio, what did you see on Saturday that Madrid Tucker was doing to make him such an easy target for you to go to?
I think the things I saw Saturday was the same thing I seen during practice during the week and the things I did in the summer when I threw with them. Me and Madrid are one of the younger guys I'm pretty close with, and I've thrown with him 1,000 times, and I threw up to him in practice after practice, and it was the same thing. So I just think kind of practice reps make game day reality, and it was the same thing he was doing in practice. So he just kind of showed up on Saturday as well.
What's your relationship with him on the field?
That's my dog. Madrid's that's my little brother. It feels like I'm really close to Madrid and his family. He stays around at my house sometimes and just watches my dog when I was gone sometimes. But Madrid's my dog. That's my little brother for me.
Thanks,
Appreciate y'all.
Dog sit.
Yeah, Frenchie.